Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to my YouTube channel and Conversations with Lashelle. And I'm sitting with the wonderful Emmanuel Henderson. And we're at the Face and Body Nails Show 2024 here in Sacramento. And I wanted to take some time to stop to speak to Emmanuel because he is the head of marketing.
I am the head of marketing. Well, I'm not the head. I'm the manager for marketing and social media at Ullie.
He will be the head.
Yeah. You know, one day.
Yeah.
I love Kim, though. Love Kim. When you see this. But yeah, and I do the social for all of these events. So
Okay.
It's really fun.
And, you know, for the viewers, and my viewers are estheticians and professionals in the industry, these events are trade shows. And can you just give us a little what's the purpose of these trade shows for someone like your company, Allure?
I think, it's fine. I think our main goal is to stay connected to the professionals, right? I mean, a big part of our brands is to be a resource for professionals, to be a resource, to be a sort of, what's a good word? Not a catalyst, but a sort of vehicle for trends, for information, for products, to make sure that the whole industry keeps going, right? I think this is a great place to connect you guys with each other and also reconnect with you in a person-to-person base, right? See what you're liking, see what's working, connect you with our partners, right? And just create a platform where we can all just get together. You know, I think that's a big one. And we have the education, obviously, and we have the actual exhibitions, but I think my favorite part is seeing people get together and meet, you know, people who become close friends, who trade secrets. When we have the live stage that you were just on, actually, I think that's great because you have people that are really getting engaged and learning things about each other.
I love it. I agree. This whole industry is about networking. It's a very small industry, and this is how we sort of help each other expand small businesses and with brands. Brands learn from us, and i.e. we learn from them, and these particular types of trade shows facilitate that. Yeah. Can you explain to me, because I like to get right into it, because I'm still learning.
We all are.
I'm still learning this part of the industry. As I've not mentioned this to my viewers, I started makeup years ago, and so skincare, me having my own skincare business just came in 4 years. So the trade shows I've been doing as a business owner in the past 2 years, and we've changed since COVID.
Yeah,
a lot more things are online.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know some of the shows have sort of pivoted towards that. Some haven't. Can you talk about some of how you've pivoted since COVID as a show, and what does that look like for you?
I think a big part of us moving in a post-COVID world and having these shows that are, first of all, in person, right? Everybody's a little anxious, I think, right? So we kept after everything.
And money.
And money. Well, right, and also time. Yeah. I think that's a big one. When you say we're having this event and it is a professional event that you'll be doing on your off days, right? How do we make that as valuable now to people in a post-COVID world, right? We were stuck in the house. Yeah. We were stuck in a place, and we were really conscious of when we did get time afterwards to go and do things we really enjoyed, to go partake in things that felt meaningful for us. So I think a big thing for me as I market, you know, through email, through social, through ads, is I ask myself, how am I connecting, how am I resonating with my audience in a way that is saying, this is good for you, not just useful, not just business development, right, which is important, and that is a big part of why we have the show. That's why we have the education, and it is important. But specifically, how am I connecting to the esthetician? What are your concerns? What are you worried about? What are we doing? What can we offer to also just make you more comfortable? Right, we have the Wellness Lounge this year. We just did that because we're like, how can we make people feel at home?
What's the Wellness Lounge? What does that look like?
The Wellness Lounge downstairs, it's basically just a spot to sort of disconnect a little. It's like a slight decompression. It's not, we're gonna continue to build on things like this with future shows, but right now it's just some chairs, a table, a charging station for people who wanna charge their phones. You know, we were talking about earlier renditions of what it would be. We were talking about, could we get massage chairs down there, things like that. And it's just like, how can we get people here and it'd be like, I am so happy I came because I feel good that I'm here.
Well, you feel thought about, and it's funny because I just shared a conversation about men's wellness, the trends of men's wellness, and it's going more towards a holistic practice where we're incorporating mind, body, and along with the things that we do in the treatment room, and how that all has to work together. You know, so your space providing sort of a place where they can disconnect and kind of reground themselves to continue on their day speaks to that. Can you talk to me about some of the challenges that you have seen and you are probably still seeing amongst not only the trade shows or doing something like this, or even if you're seeing it just in your the participants of these shows in the industry? What are you seeing?
I think we have to face the disconnect, right? Everything's competitive.
And when you say disconnect, what do you mean?
I mean, between us and the brand, between the experience and the attendee. I mean, not us and the brand, us as the brand, and then us with the attendees, and also with like how are we staying both, as we jump into social, right, which is the hugest thing now.
Yeah.
We're asking ourselves, how do we stay relevant, right? How do we stay relevant, and how do we do it in a way that is honest? I think my biggest thing as I go through it, the things that I'm helping us reshape a little bit is like we want to stay connected and we want to have every piece of our brand representing our best selves, what we really love to have seen, right? And that goes so much further than just what the posts look like or just what color our logo is and stuff like that. And I think that's a big part of it for me. I think learning to navigate those conversations and help create space for them is a good way to do it. I mean, I'm a younger person, obviously coming into an industry that is super, super established.
Have you worked in beauty or this industry before?
No, before this, I was actually with a very small, I was in sort of literature.
What?
And publishing, yeah. Not really publishing, but I was supporting local, writers of color, queer writers, stuff like that, just helping, get them funds, find them spaces, get them connected with an industry in a way that kept them sort of out of the dark a little bit. And I'm taking a lot of that here in a lot of ways. Of course you are. Right? Like, how are we in our marketing? I think it's really easy. We have a really diverse team now, and how do we, as diverse as our different representations, right? How do we make sure we're not whitewashing everything?
Yeah.
Right? I think that's a big thing. I talk to like I said, I love Kim. Kim is my boss. And she is a whiz. She's amazing. And she is so open to us saying, hey, we have not really diversified our own marketing, right? And also having conversations with her, and her, when I bring it to her and say, hey, how can we really do this? Her making a larger conversation and me being able to have a space where I can say, that's why I say I love my team, where I can say it's not just about, okay, we had a ton of white people, for instance, which is not bad.
Right.
But how do we get, how do we go from we have a ton of white people to, okay, we have black people, to saying that's not enough also?
Right, not just filling the seats for the sake of filling the seats.
But also not only saying we're diverse now because we got black people.
Yeah, look, we fill this, we've checked the box.
Exactly.
No, you have to make them be a part of the process of change in terms of, the companies and the decision making in some respect. And I think, the performative piece is dying. Like, we're on to you.
Well, and
not to Kim and them, but just on to the idea of how to sort of like just get us in to say that we've got you in, but we're going to continue to do things that only represent us and speak to people that we know. And I think it's also about, I think that happens because there is a lot of people in the industry, especially who are not of color and not black, who don't have exposure and understand, right? And I think
that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we have editors who are really, really good about reaching out and reaching beyond. But it's also, not in their cases, but in cases that I've seen in other places, it's how in tune are you with the culture at large, right?
Yeah, do you want to be in
what
tune
conversations are we getting into? Like, that's one thing I love working with my editors and hearing them say, I saw this thing and I decided to just, dig a little deeper, right? How do we say, obviously, if one of my brands is obviously the nail side, and how do we, that's an extremely diverse, that's an extremely diverse audience. How do we lean in, right? And then how do we make connections that are meaningful enough to be invited in, right? We don't want to just come in and be intruders who are just standing there like, hello, we are here because we think that what you do is important and that you're valuable and we want to include you, right? How do we get invited into spaces where we're no longer including people? Right? And that's a big thing that everybody has been really big about getting on board and helping me and honestly just showing me the work they have done, which is really impressive, honestly. I think that's, as a young black professional, it is great to be a part of a team that it's a priority before I even stepped in.
It feels genuine. It feels like they're genuinely interested in trying to understand your point of view. And I think that's what it is. It's the point of view piece.
And consciousness of bias.
That's it.
Huge.
And I think that's interesting. And I think that's what we need more of. Our industry is based on connecting with people. I'm an esthetician. I talk about therapeutic touch all the time. I talk about connection with all the time. I work with a lot of men. I work with men from all different backgrounds and all different types of ages, and I have to understand their point of view and understand who they are genuinely so to, first of all, continue the client retention.
Well, that's what I was that's the marketing. That's so much the marketing. Who are these people? Right?
Right.
What are they? Who was I just talking to? I was talking to my friend who is a esthetician and a CNA. And I talked to my other friend who's an esthetician and a CNA. And I go, if a lot of our estheticians are also CNAs, right? And estheticians don't work usually Sunday, Monday, right, is what I've been told. But estheticians don't, but CNAs sure do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
so how does that change? How does that change what we talk about, how we talk about it, right? And as we start to, I think a big thing in marketing, and that's huge and is being demanded of us by the audience right now, is it's about more than trying to be transparent. It's about more than trying to come across as human.
Yep.
It's about connecting and being curious about them, and then learning about them. And then this is sort of something I do is, you know, when I was working with more in the writer audiences, okay, we got a lot of writers, they're fantasy writers, they're probably a lot of gamers too. So there's some references we can pull from that world, right, and apply to our marketing to help build that sort of connection and build that larger conversation that creates a community that feels known, right? And that is where you get, when you step into the dimensionality of social media connections, that human connection, and you step into that transparency, because a lot of people right now are being transparent on purpose. Right, it's like, look at this thing where I can show you.
Right.
I'm so connected and I'm so behind the scenes instead of just being honest and upfront. And that's something I love when we get an opportunity to do that.
It's vulnerability, and it's also being willing to not look like the person you want to try to present.
Yes.
You know, I was just on stage and I asked you, I was so nervous. I don't know why, and I think because it was a little bit more filled up than usual for me. And it was just raw, and I couldn't, I caught myself trying to get back to the compose and be this presentation. I have it all under control, and look at me, and I just was like, you know what? I'm nervous, and then I just kind of went with it, and was willing to look not so together.
That's what I was talking
exposure.
About. Real exposure.
Real exposure. Because
Okay.
I was like, you really are not together.
You are like that. That's honestly where you get that most intimate, most client retention focused connection, because that is a person.
No, he's a person.
I know him because I've been him.
Yeah.
I literally just today I had to do an announcement on the loudspeaker. I don't know if you heard me. I hope you
didn't.
I did. But you know, I started to speak because there was a thing I was supposed to say exactly, and then I made a mistake, and immediately as soon as I made a mistake, I feel so much better. I have been identified as human, and I can continue. I had to do. This is part of the writing thing too, but I was presenting an award, and I couldn't get the thing out. I couldn't get the name out of the envelope.
Oh, okay.
And so at first I go up there, you know, I'm feeling great. I got my little backless shirt on. I'm saying what I'm supposed to say, and I mess up. And at that moment, that is the most freeing part. Honestly, once you make the mistake, it's done, right? Illusion shattered.
Well, thank you for reminding me, because I tell you,
and then you can be yourself, and yourself is 90% better than the version of you that was constrained and stuck and trying to remember everything. Now you're naturally good. And
so so what you're saying to what we were just saying is, it's how do you bring that into the marketing space, to bring that into these spaces?
Yeah. Why do you create that space?
How do you create that
because
space?
Because that's our responsibility as the brands.
So.
We are responsible for creating spaces. And that's why I love that I get to work on these shows and sort of help reinvent them. I love working with this team because they're always involving me in a lot of the conversations that I really don't need to be involved in, right?
Right.
But
you have such a great point of view.
Thank you so
Just
much.
talking to you, we were more now, I'm glad I did ask you to speak.
We were talking, how can we make the live stage better? And I was like, and we had balloons for the Master Challenge, and we were like, what about plants? And so Christine, the events director, was like, let's go to the plant store and grab some plants. Which plants should we get? And obviously, at the end of the day, really, everything is marketing. That is something I'm saying to everybody. Every single thing you do is marketing, it's branding, it's community management, it's everything.
Whether you're in this industry or not.
Exactly.
It's life, right?
And that's a good thing and a bad thing in some cases, but that's a different conversation.
Oh, right.
But getting into that and being able to be like, I am permitted to make some decisions, to give some suggestions is big. And that's a part of it, right? Yeah. That's a part of the becoming vulnerable, because you're becoming realized.
And also building an awareness for them for others who are seeking your insight. Can you share with me some of the opportunities? I know that you've kind of touched upon some of the opportunities that you are now implementing and how it can go into a bigger space, but if you can just double down on some of the other opportunities that you see that you can do with these sort of organizations and these shows, and if you even see it in the practitioner side, because I know you get to talk to some of us.
I think, I guess from our side, I think a big opportunity is creating well, in every case, actually. I think I'm a big community manager. Like, I talked to my social media specialist, Renee Viger, and she's brilliant. And we were talking when she first came on board, and I was like, what are your social media, like, things, right? Like, what is your main thing? Is it content creation? Is it this? Is it that? And mine was community management. Like, I love community so much. And so I think, but I really do think that is the biggest opportunity, right? Reaching back once you shook that person, like us, right?
Yeah.
We met last year, and it didn't end last year,
No, it
right?
did not.
And now you're back at the show, you're speaking, which is great. I honestly had nothing to do with this. So,
Right.
but,
Oh, wow. I thought you did.
no, I didn't. But I saw you when I was reading it with Bree, and I was like, who are our speakers? Because I really want to, like, reach out to them, because this is it. I want to reach out to them and just create a dialogue between the sort of corporate behind the scenes and these people who are representing our brands. You know, who are the spokespeople for these industries?
It was really sweet that you guys were able to do this. We had a meeting, and you allowed me to do this, and I felt, as someone who's still growing a name for himself in this industry, to have you just give me that attention, I guess, and just to respect me. I felt respected.
I think that's it.
I felt respected, and I felt more obliged to, I'm going to get to Sacramento, and I'm going to get up there and do the thing for them, you know, because they brought me and they made me feel they validated, that piece, right?
Because you lean in. We lean in, and I think it has to be personal like that.
And on a real level. Because we can talk about being Black and being gay, we got that connection.
Right.
But when I saw you, like, you say, hey, Pookie, like, I love the fact that you called me that. I was like, oh, I love him. I want to kiss him. But it's those, I think the opportunity that I'm constantly trying to push, and I said it on the stage, and I hope it came across really, really clear. If we're not integrating with each other and working together, even as the brands in some way, in some form, and bringing those, even as practitioners, bringing those things into our practices, I feel that we're gonna fade. Death happens, right? And it happens fast. It happens, because I think a shift already has happened before and through COVID, where that compartmentalization, working in those little silos, no longer works anymore.
At all.
And because politically you've seen what happened with the discourses and the disconnect, it's pushing us closer together, right? And the work that we do is about making people's lives feel and look better, right? And so working together is the only way that we're going to do that.
You can't. It's not a race to who can be the best one.
No,
it's the team, and we're learning that as well. Like I said, marketing and events, right? They're putting together this show, but they're like, how can we make this look better, Emmanuel, marketer?
Right.
How can you get into the logistics of this and help us create something stronger? And then vice versa. When I say, hey, this is what I think about marketing, how does this reflect what your vision is for the actual show? And then we get that, and you get something synergized and specific and curated and stronger.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate this.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time today, and we will be hearing more from Emmanuel. I will be reaching out to him again, but I just want to thank you today for just giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
And let's say goodbye to our viewers. Bye.
Bye. Nice.